6:30 having arrived, I will officially call Planning Commission and Common Council joint meeting to order. The meeting has been properly posted and will be taken.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is continue the consideration of a resolution establishing the boundaries of and approving the project plan for Cats District number 6. At this time, from Planning Commission members, I would entertain a motion to untable this issue from last.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to take from the table the motion to adopt the resolution establishing the boundaries of and approving the project plan for tax incremental district number 6.
So I'll start that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further, there is no discussion. With that, may we have a roll call vote?
Just
Or
for
just a majority vote?
just for clarification, this is just to open the table.
Yeah, just, yes.
Ms. Alder? Aye. Mr. Schrader?
Aye.
Mr. Beazer?
Yes.
Mr. Delavan?
Yes.
The motion to untable passes, and as we recall on those that were on the Planning Commission, that we did have a motion to adopt the resolution establishing the boundaries of and improving the project plan for tax incremental district, and a second. If you need a reminder or refresher on that, but if not, if there's any other further discussion on it, I would entertain it at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say that I think we have everything in line. I saw that the decision is included in the paperwork and everything was clear.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, there's a motion and a second, and all those in favor of the motion to adopt signify by stating aye on the Planning Commission.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same
Aye.
sign. 2, 3 to 1 passes. Thank you. With that, then I would move on to item number 3, which is to officially call the meeting to order, including the Common Council. That meeting has been properly posted and will be taken.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 4 is verification of the proper legal notice. We have the affidavit of printing that was attached with the information this evening. We'll move on to item number 5, which is a presentation of the proposed plan amendments by the consultant and city staff.
All right, can't see what's going on in the room, but I can kick it off if staff is comfortable with that. Good evening, everyone. We are convening a joint meeting this evening to consider a proposed amendment to the city's comprehensive plan. This is specifically an amendment to the future land use map for 2 parcels located at 910 East Geneva Street. There's an individual who is interested in doing a fitness center at this location. This is the site of the former Luther Memorial Church, which has been vacant for quite some time. And this parcel, both of these parcels are shown in the future land use map as community facilities, which is the category that we use for schools, churches, similar institutional type uses. But that would not be consistent with a commercial use at this location. And so in order to pursue a fitness center, the applicant is intending to request a change to the future land use map from community facilities, which is what it's currently shown as, to neighborhood mixed use. That neighborhood mixed use category is consistent with other parcels to the west of the property. So I think it's the Ace Hardware and other businesses to the west. Those are in the comprehensive plan as neighborhood mixed use. So this would be consistent with that designation that those parcels have. This would be just the first step that this applicant would need to go through. If the amendment were approved this evening, the next steps for this applicant would be to request for rezoning the BL zoning district and then request a conditional use permit for the fitness center use. So those are something that those approvals will come before the Plan Commission and Council at a later date. So, I think the reason that these parcels were shown for institutional was reflecting the fact that that had been a church for so long. And the thinking with the comprehensive plan is to identify, the plan tends to identify those institutional uses in the plan and on the map, because it gives the city extra control should the land use want to change there. So if you could imagine a school or a larger church wanting to change land use, it could have significant impacts on surrounding properties. And so requiring that comprehensive plan amendment gives the city a little bit more control. In this situation, I feel that it's a pretty small site, and it's adjacent to existing areas that are recommended for neighborhood mixed use. And so this one is probably not as impactful as other potential institutional uses that might change over time. So as you'll see on the agenda, later steps on this meeting agenda include a public hearing, and then later on the agenda, the Plan Commission would consider a resolution to recommend the amendment. And if that succeeds, then the council would consider adopting the ordinance to approve the amendment. And both of those documents are in your packet. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. All right, then with that, we would move on to item number 6, which is the public hearing regarding the proposed plan amendments. 6.1, which is the reading of the committed. Well, actually, at this time, I will go ahead and officially open a public hearing at this time. Yeah, make some initial comments. Would the petitioner like to offer any information at this time? Or do you want to add something more?
I was just gonna say the applicant is here, Ryan. I don't know if you have any questions for him, but he would be best to answer them since he knows what he wants to do. So I'll have Ryan come up here.
Hi, everyone.
Ryan?
How you doing today?
Good.
So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them and I'll answer them. That's my ability.
Any questions from planning commission members?
Are you looking to tear down the existing building and rebuild it, or are you looking to make modifications to the inside? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep the current building, I'm not going to tear it down. What I would be doing is some upgrades. A couple of things that need to be done is the pillars on the outside need to be sealed up and maintained. So that's something that I'd be doing to take care of that. Other than that, inside would be eventually over time adapting to where it becomes a fitness center, family fitness center. Some of the things that are already in there will stay, such as like offices, areas of like daycare, because eventually I might have daycare services. The areas that are open are perfect for group training. The only thing that I can see changing would be putting new flooring in and eventually adding in showers and things of that nature.
Other portion, otherwise it's 6.1, reading of submitted comments and statements and questions from the public. Is there anyone else in attendance this evening that would wish to speak at this time on this issue? Hearing none. 6.2, again, planning commission and common council questions. Any additional questions for Ryan from planning commission members or the council?
I guess my question would be, you mentioned daycare, and is that just for people who are using your facility?
Yeah, so it'd be for when the parents are coming in to work out and stuff like that, and they need that drop-in. So, it's kind of hard to sit there and work out. I have kids myself, so it's hard to work out with kids and stuff like that. So having that ability to have a drop-in daycare would be beneficial to those parents.
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely.
No additional questions. Thank you, Ryan. Item 7, response to the public hearing questions by consultant and city staff.
I don't think I have anything to add.
Right. Item number 8, discussion of proposed plan amendments by planning commission, and actually at this time I officially closed the public hearing and discussion of proposed plan amendments by the planning commission and common council. Item number 9, planning commission consideration of the resolution recommending the plan amendments to the common council. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed resolution recommending amendments to comprehensive plans, future land use map, map 5, which involve changing the future land use categories for 2 tax parcels as depicted in the map provided by the city planner dated August 15th, 2022.
There's a motion, is there a second by the planning commission?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. No further business before the planning commission, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor of adjournment, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Thank you, planning commission members.
Much shorter than last time. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
I watched.
I heard about it.
All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 11, for the common council consideration of the ordinance adopting the plan amendments. And a motion by the common council.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance amending the city's comprehensive plans, future land use map, map 5, which involves changing the future land use categories as depicted in the map provided by the city planner dated August 15th, 2022, pursuant to section 66.1001, subsection 4, subsection C of Wisconsin statutes.
There's a motion, is there a second? There's a motion and a second, any additional discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. There's no further business on this portion of our agenda. I will entertain a motion to maybe recess, or do you want to officially adjourn this? Okay, officially adjourn this, or entertain a motion to officially adjourn this portion of the meeting.
So.
The motion is second.
Second.
Those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Go ahead and officially call the September common council meeting to order, as this meeting is properly posted and enrollment taken.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, our approval of the minutes, 3.1, our approval of the minutes from the August 16th and September 13th. Is there a motion to approve those?
I move that we approve the minutes from August 16th and September 13th.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 4 is communications. Communications at this time. Item number 5 then would be public comments. Citizens who wish to address the chair at this time, I would just ask that you please limit your comments to items that are on tonight's agenda for no more than 3 minutes. Are there anyone who would wish to make any public comments at this time? Hearing none, we would move on to item number 6, which are reports of committees, boards, commissions, and the Delavan Darien School District. Item 6.1 is Finance Committee and the Financial Report. Alderwoman Deschner Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee met on September 13th at 5 o'clock. Our next meeting will be on October 11th at 5. There are a number of items on tonight's agenda. The minutes of the meeting are filed with the city clerk for public inspection. And at this time, I would make a motion to approve the financial report.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Item number 6.2 is general operations. Alderman Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. General Operations met Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. The police chief informed us that he had 2 new squads. They're increasing traffic enforcement around the schools, walking the schools daily, and early 2024 for the new radio project startup. Building and zoning report and updated us on 10 new homes and 1 new industry. And the other pertinent business will be coming up later in this meeting. The next GOC meeting will be October 4th at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you, Alderman Wilson. Item 6.3 is the planning commission. Alderman Beazer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Planning Commission met September 6th, and just prior to this meeting today, there will be a number of items that should be looked at. And I believe we will be meeting Monday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. for the next meeting. If anybody has any interest in reviewing the minutes, they're on file with the city clerk for public inspection.
Thank you, Alderman Beazer. Item 6.4 is public works. Alderwoman Destron Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Works met on August 23rd at 5:30. Some of the items that were covered will be discussed tonight under Finance Committee. Our next meeting is September 27th at 5:30.
Thank you, Alderwoman Destron Brand. Item 6.5 is the Town of Delavan Lake Committee. Alderman Beazer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Town of Delavan Lake Committee met on September 7th. The dredging process is ongoing, and our next meeting will be looking at the budgetary, put together a budget for the town's approval. They did in fact make a motion, and it passed to have the city of Elkhorn as well as the city of Delavan provide updated reports pertaining to any watershed issues or storm drain off. And they're looking for more information as to how the city is benefiting the lake directly.
Thank you, Alderman Beazer. Item 6.6 is the Library Board of Trustees. Alderwoman Destron Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Library Board met on September 15th, 5:30. Updates were given on donations for the new library build, and the budget for the 2023 year was accepted. Our next meeting is October 20th at 5:30.
Thank you, Alderwoman Destron Brand. Item 6.7 is Parks and Recreation Commission. Alderman Purcell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're gonna meet on the 24th of this month, or October is the 24th. The last meeting we got the fall park and rec schedule coming out. It's been mailed out to everyone. Summer's pretty much over with, and we're still kind of working on the dog park. We're getting further with that, but that won't be done till next year. But the next meeting we have will be October 20th at 5 p.m. Or no, I'm sorry, 24th at 5:30 p.m.
Alderman Purcell. Item 6.8 is Communications Commission. Alderman Solis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have not met since our last council meeting. We are scheduled for a meeting tomorrow at 5:30.
Thank you, Alderman Solis. Item 6.9 is the Delavan Downtown Project Management Team. Alderwoman Destron Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Downtown Project Management Team met on August 25th at 7. I was unable to attend due to a change of date. I don't know, Mr. Wilson, if you have any updates from that meeting that you need to share.
Well, we had Scarecrow Fest. That was the main thing.
Okay, yeah, and that went really well. There's a lot of people down there. Currently, the next meeting is to be determined.
Thank you, Alderwoman Destron Brand. Item 6.10 is the Delbrook Golf Commission. Alderman Purcell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, golf. They're probably thinking about closing the course on the 31st, which would be Halloween. I haven't heard anything about staying open if the weather is better. We're trying to figure that out, either close at a certain date or keep it another week. I have not heard about, but it's a bunch of tree removal stuff that they're doing. I think we're pretty much good with everything. It's been a pretty good year. I think last year was better than this year, but I think we're still in the running. The next meeting will be October 20th at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Alderman Purcell. Item 6.11 is Tourism Commission. Alderman Solis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, we met on Monday, September 12th. One of the things that came to the meeting was the Delavan Area Rotary Club is having their 100-year celebration they're celebrating by doing an artisan fair at Cognitive Gardens this Saturday. We approved the grant for them to have it. We support the Rotary Club, and that's one of the things that was pretty neat. I figured that we would support them, meeting the requirements, of course, that we have for the grants. Also, one of the items that they discussed, which I think is kind of exciting news, is the banners. We're kind of in the process of the city of, some of you guys don't know, we have some light poles throughout the city on 50 there, where the Booster Club can put stuff up on there. They did 1 year. So right now we're working on having banners that go throughout the city. We're working on the designs and all that stuff, and I know that was discussed and kind of pushed forward because it's kind of installed because it's really expensive. But that's going to be something real neat to have some of those banners throughout 50, displaying different type of things throughout the year, and also some of the logos of our city. I think it just brings up some color. So that was pretty much it.
Thank you, Alderman Solis.
Our next meeting is October 10 at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Alderman Solis. Item 6.12 is the Delavan Darien School District update. Dr. Jill Sorby.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a rundown. One thing that we have that was exciting for the last few years, we've been receiving a workforce development grant. And so that has assisted the district in continuing to purchase additional equipment in our career and tech ed department. Specifically, we've decked out our welding shop, metal shop, and including some ag department areas, things in that, and also in the woods shop. And so with that, we are excited to share that we have been featured in the state, and we have a state representative coming down the end of next month to showcase what we have done with our grant money to move in some new equipment for our students. So that's kind of fun. The start of school was a huge success. Specifically, I want to announce one unique thing that we are doing different this year at our high school. Our students are no longer allowed to have their cell phones during class period. I know that might seem like a simple concept, but they have to put them in a little pocket chart similar to how they used to have them. And so that's kind of nice because it allows for our teachers to teach. So hallelujah to no cell phones at the high school for classrooms. Going now all the way down to the youngest learners, we have redone our 4-year-old kindergarten outreach program. And so there will be lots of fun monthly activities for families to be partaking in. This week, Friday, is the first outreach where families will get to partake in some fun events for our 4-year-old kindergartners. The end of August, we also had a dual language parent meeting where our dual language coordinator, Irma Nixon, met with about 50 families on our programming and sharing with them about what our program looks like. It is all the way up into the 9th grade now, and we will be continuing to move towards having that seal of biliteracy for our graduates in the future. So that's exciting news for them as well. This week, Vanya, our new outreach coordinator, who is funded by a grant, she is delivering to every new family to the district a little goodie bag. The goodie bag consists of things that she has in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and various businesses has put together to represent our community. And so she is now delivering those to families this week, and they are very thankful for that. So I appreciate that partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, this week is homecoming, a big deal. We started kickoff last Friday, where all students received a Comet Nation t-shirt. And they are so super excited. Oh, look at Miss Deschner Brandt has one. So, and if you turn it around for me, because we got to see all of the sponsors there that really paid for that t-shirt. So we are very thankful to them, and the kids absolutely love them. One of my successes was Mark Butso, music teacher at the middle school, sent me an email this weekend and said, hey, I was at the grocery store in Janesville this weekend and I saw a Comet Nation t-shirt on Saturday. So again, it's about getting out our message, and that is lovely to hear as well. So homecoming, obviously big kickoff. We have our ribbon cutting on 6 o'clock on Friday night. If any of you want to join, I'd love to have you in the photo op because it's going to be a big deal. And then on Saturday, we have a bowling event. And so we want to thank our local bowling alley. That is a non-district sponsored event, but it allows for our students and families to get out there and bowl for free on Saturday. Obviously, we have the water tower ribbon cutting, and I want to say again, thank you to the city for your partnership with the district on that, and I'm looking forward to being part of that activity Friday morning. 10 o'clock is the new time, I've heard. Correct, perfect, on my calendar. And then the last thing is we reinvigorated our Hope Squad. Hope Squad is a program where students are real good peers to their colleagues or to their fellow classmates and helping them when they have some challenges emotionally with different things. And so it's a suicide prevention program, and we have reinvigorated that by having almost 100 kids this summer come to an all-day retreat. They have all new t-shirts and it's already worked. We had a student on Saturday that called and emailed one of their teachers at one of our buildings this weekend. The teacher then reached out to the administrator reached out to me on Saturday afternoon. The administrator was able to call that family and have a conversation with them about something that was reported to another peer. It is so essential that those things happen, and it's just lovely to hear that program exists and kids are willing to share how they feel, and then we can do our best to secure the right counseling or whatever needs to happen for that child. So. Okay, any questions for me?
It's really refreshing to hear all this positivity that's coming in terms of our school district. I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you, me too. Me too.
Thank you. I would say, I know I sent you and Mr. Creatus and Mr. Alter
Yes.
email yesterday about starting up the Mayor for a Day program again, and this will be the 3rd year, so it's been a very successful program. I couldn't have done it without you, the school district overall, and the teachers, and obviously our city staff working in collaboration to make that a pretty neat educational opportunity for our students. So thank you for promoting that, and we'll
Yes.
start that back up in next month.
That is exciting for our kids. I'd like to come over and see what they get to experience for the day. So let me know when they're coming over and I'll pop in.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 7, issues that came before the planning commission. 7.1 is a request to consider a planned infill development step 4 precise implementation plan, PIP at 304 South 7th Street, located in the business local BL zoning district to allow for redevelopment for the current retail building applicant, Tom Max Patel.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution allowing the proposed beverage center project at 304 South 7th Street, subject to the requirements of the submitted application, subject to the requirements of the general development plan, PID zoning, and the general city of Delavan zoning ordinance, and subject to the conditions as listed in the report and identified by city staff, the plan commission, and the common council.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 7.2 is consider a request for a planned infill development step 4 precise implementation plan, PIP at 615 Farrell Avenue, located in the business local BL and residential multifamily 12 RM-12 zoning districts to allow for a group development residential apartment complex in the area north of Delavan Fest Park, applicant Falcon Ridge Apartments.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution allowing for the proposed Falcon Ridge Apartments project subject to the requirements of submitted application, subject to the requirements of the general development plan, PID zoning, and the general city of Delavan zoning ordinance, and subject to the listed conditions identified by city staff, plan commission, and the common council.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 7.3 is consider a single lot land redivision request by certified survey map CSM to continue the 3 tax parcels along Farrell Avenue at Phoenix Street.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve a CSM to combine the current 3 tax parcels into one single parcel.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
That's second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 8, issues that came before the Finance Committee. 8.1 is consider approval to switch out new squads with updated equipment.
I would move to authorize the police department to contract with General Fire Equipment Company to purchase squad equipment listed and install for the cost of $32,102.04 to be paid for in the 2023 miscellaneous capital, not in capital account 100-52-100-8,000.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, do we have a roll call?
Alderman Herseth.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dustin Grant.
Yes.
Alderman Dayton.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderman Beezer.
Yes.
Alderman Solis.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 8.2 is consider authorizing grant agreement of funding assistance for shoreline repairs along the north shore of the Lake Comus Paul Lane Arboretum.
I would make a motion to authorize the Director of Public Works to sign and return the DNR grant agreement for funding assistance for the shoreline repairs along the north shore of Lake Comus, Paul Lane Arboretum before September 30th.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'd second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 8.3 are approval of the bills warrant 2022-08.
I'd make a motion to approve warrant 2022-08.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 9 are issues that came before the General Operations Committee. 9.1 is consider request to extend the no parking area along the north side of Franklin Street, from Moreno Avenue west to Richmond Road.
All right, the recommendation is a slight vertical curve at the west of Reno Drive at Franklin Street intersection. Does add a visibility limitations on the eastern condominium driveway. The General Operations Committee reviewed the matter on September 13th meeting and recommends amending the municipal code section 10-1-27-parent 10 parent to extend the no parking on the north side of Franklin Street, Moreno West to Richmond Road. My question is, are you the one that wrote the letter? That's really only a problem during church hours, correct?
Yes, however, their church hours have become extended. When they have weddings there, they now are having receptions in the drive area and the home next to the church. So it's whenever there's any event going on at the church. And they also have services during the week. So it's, much more frequent than it used to be. It used to just be Sundays, but now it's quite often.
May I,
And first of all, let's maybe have a motion. I think you made the official motion.
I'll move to approve the proposed ordinance amending code section 10-1-27 parent 10.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And Alderman.
yes, so I'm a member of the church. I know that, and I park on Franklin, but not on that side ever because I don't like parking there. I'd rather drive further down on Franklin and actually park on the opposite side. And I understand your point, I think being good neighbors is a huge part of it. I can tell you Sundays is the busiest day. Sunday afternoon, typically, everybody's parking off of Marino or Franklin on the opposite side. I just wanna say, we are in the process of, near future, hopefully, if funding comes through, building a church and moving along. It helps to have that little bit of parking, for some of the folks that have walking and whatever. I know that Marino itself, a few years back, some of that parking was restricted due to fire trucks being able to get through and stuff like that, and completely understand that. But the only thing I just wanna say is that, I only see this being a problem with Sundays between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And I can always discuss, like I said, I did pass this along to the pastor to let the congregation know to avoid parking there in general.
And make a little comment.
I would just ask that if you are gonna just to come up to the podium, so we're videoing and people that wanna view it can hear better.
No matter when your church is going to move, we have the immediate problem of coming out the two driveways and you can't see until you're out into the middle of the street. And you're far more familiar with the church probably than I am. However, the parking is frequently obstructing the view, more than just Sundays. It really is. The whole street in front of our condo association is parked solid many times. And when we come out of the driveways, your vision is just so obstructed, somebody's gonna get T-boned. Cause you sneak out, and then you slam on your brakes, cause sure as heck, something's coming. So that it is a real danger.
Speed up as they go towards Richmond, I've seen them drive through there.
Oh,
You
Franklin
make a-
Street is not at 25
They're not.
mile an hour zone at all,
I
no.
do- I do
You're
agree.
right, you're right. They come through there quite quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, we're probably looking at maybe like 4 cars in total parking.
Oh, there's, let's see, 3, 6, there's like 10 cars at least that, I have pictures on my phone, that park in front of our property where both driveways are totally blocked up to see provision.
I also did used to live at that condominium complex, and Sundays were difficult, and not only the obstruction, but I nearly hit somebody twice because I couldn't see coming out, and then there was pedestrians walking. I think not only for the safety of the drivers, but I think for the safety of some of the pedestrians, especially with littler children who aren't necessarily paying attention to the traffic that's coming and going. But I haven't been there for a while, so I don't know if it's increased, but I know Sundays was definitely.
It has increased. It has increased, and it seems that they are having some type of celebrations there more than just Sunday mornings, other kinds of parties, etc.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. The discussion, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 9.2 is consider a resolution amending the fees for amusement devices and bowling alleys. Speak first. I usually have a motion, a second, and additional discussion.
Why I needed to be listening to the whole meeting.
Did you want to?
What?
Do you want to make a motion? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt a proposed resolution amending the fees for bowling alley lanes and video games amusement devices beginning in 2023 license year.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
This,
Mr. Cass. Mr. Cass, we can hear you, so you may want to just mute yourself?
Okay, this issue has been one of the most challenging. A very pleasant lady contacted me about 6 months ago to see if I could remove the bowling fees. It didn't seem to me like she was under financial distress, but because she felt they were unfair. Bowling is her business, and besides the liquor license, she is required to pay a $20 fee for each lane for $320 a year. We waived this fee during COVID, and now everything is getting back to normal. And she compares the bowling alley to the golf course, and they don't pay for each hole. My fear of waiving these fees is that the rippling effect could result, and numerous taverns could be coming at us to waive fees for pool tables, jukeboxes, etc. There are 5 other municipalities listed, and all 5 have similar fees, and Delavan is consistent with the lowest. Once we waive these fees, they are gone forever. I felt that this issue was so important that I wanted the common council to help decide. So,
Any other additional discussion?
I'd like to just say, Mr. Mayor, that, you know, I think that by removing these fees, you know, we're talking, we're just gonna open the gates for people that just don't wanna pay a fee, maybe possibly just come in and say, hey, I don't wanna pay this fee. You know, in every other city nearby, these fees are applied. It helps to have those fees. You know, if there is a, during COVID, I think we give a handout and say, hey, we're going to a situation and we waive those fees, but, you know, we are past that now. And hopefully they'll do good this year. We're praying that their business continues to flourish. But waiving the fees, I think, can set a precedent that, you know, we can just complain about the fee and the fee's gonna go away for other businesses. And we gotta consider that we're fair to everybody as we look at this.
So the precedent then you're suggesting is that because we're removing them from bowling alleys, that's going to open some sort of Pandora's box to other businesses. Whereas the bowling alley is based basically on, that's its main, that's what it does. It's a bowling alley.
Correct.
So are we then suggesting logically to extend it to the golf courses or to mini golf if that comes in, or?
Well, we also got, so we're just waiving the bowling, the alley.
Yeah, just the bowling alley.
So not the video arcade.
No, the video game actually is going up. We're increasing the video.
$20.
Yep, we're just removing it in this specific instance because of the fact that it's affecting an institution or an operation that is primarily based on bowling, and nobody else has to face that fee for their particular recreational sport.
Because there's only one bowling alley in town.
yeah,
One bowling alley, but also, you know, the video games and all that stuff are ancillary. Nobody's running a video game emporium anymore. Nobody's running a pool hall. Now, if a pool hall came in, that would be a bridge we'd have to cross, but then we're working in the world of hypotheticals.
I guess looking at this, because we're talking about taking away the fees for the amusement devices, which I would guess would include
No, we're not, we're just.
okay, because it says consider resolution amending fees for amusement devices.
And then if you go down.
Just the actual alley, in reality,
the
it
alley,
dropped
okay.
to $10
Okay.
with the increase of the arcade.
And
And I don't know if, obviously Elkhorn doesn't have a bowling alley. I don't know that McWanago and New Berlin, Oconomowoc, but they don't seem to have like a bowling lane fee, just Lake Geneva on here, correct? So other than Lake Geneva, we're the only one with a bowling lane fee.
Well, your Cougar Lane's in Clinton.
But Clinton's not on here.
the ordinance was written in 1963. Back then, we had a couple bowling alleys, and so did Elkhorn, so did. the rest of them.
It's just a bowling alley.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any, yes,
So the discussion came up quite a bit regarding whether or not we should adjust them, whether or not we should strip them out, whether or not we should make specific exceptions. And looking at this in terms of, this was established in 1963, if this needs to be updated. We did look at it, and we thought that some of these prices were probably based on 1963 values, so it could be adjusted and moved up, but we didn't want to go, we didn't want to get out of hand in terms of raising any of these fees. These are in fact ancillary businesses, or ancillary components for a lot of the businesses. But the question is, why do these fees get put in place in the first place? And that was something that we couldn't answer because they were put in place in 1963. It was a different time. We weren't sure if this was something where it was supposed to be meant as a deterrent for putting these in place. We didn't know if this was something that came back in terms of the city. And I think that this is something that we should figure out, how does this apply in this today's current day and age? Are these fees justified? I asked questions regarding other devices, and that seemed to be very broad. So I think we're looking at, or we're talking about two things. One is, are we going to be removing bowling alleys? And two, are we going to be adjusting these other amusement device fees? So I think we should perhaps look at both of those components individually in terms of, do we want to make an amendment, or what do we want to do moving forward with this? This did in fact move forward, and it passed general operations, but I had concerns during that as well, and they're all still here.
Just to be clear, the resolution before you would raise the amusement device fees and get rid of the bowling alley fees, just to be clear.
Does that go for all local bars, all local facilities, like the raising of all those prices?
That is correct.
Okay, because this is a little difficult to understand when you're reading it. So it seems like this is just a bowling alley thing, but this is like all establishments. Okay.
There's been a motion.
There's a motion and a second, and we have a lot of good discussion. Is there any other additional discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor, is everyone clear on the motion?
So we are gonna take the bowling fee, the alley fee away and increase the other fees for everyone.
For other businesses, yes.
All businesses,
All
including the
businesses,
bowling.
yeah. So the ones that don't have bowling alleys are gonna see an increase in their business too.
Right,
By doing this.
Mhm.
That's kind of where I was a little.
Let's face it, they're not making a lot of money at a bowling alley.
That's true. It's a hard business.
And I think part of this is due to the proliferation of certain types of devices that are in bars, the various gambling
Yep,
machines
yep.
that are the gambling machines.
They are.
So I think that's part of the thought process on this also.
All right, if everyone is clear on the motion, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion passes. Item 9.3 is consider a resolution providing for an expansion of consumption area for downtown events.
I move to approve the resolution providing for temporary expansion of the alcohol consumption area and licensed premises description for future downtown events.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One thing, it's important or not, I talked to a lot of the car people, you had the Scarecrow this weekend, the car show, and I talked to a lot of car show people, because they come to our shop, and they said this year was the best. It was well formed, it was unbelievable. So whoever was working on that, hands on.
Thank you, Purcell. Any other additional discussion on this item? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 9.4 is consider changes to the municipal code section 15-5-10 for minimum standards for residential housing for delivery of repair orders.
Move to approve the proposed ordinance amending code section 15-5-10, parent A, parent 1, parent D.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 10, other business, 10.1 is considered the mayor's appointment of an alderperson to the Tourism Commission. This has been on the agenda for a couple months. Just to update everyone, the Tourism Commission has changed their meeting time to 5 p.m. and Bob Dayton here has agreed to serve on that committee. And so I would nominate Alderman Bob Dayton to this position. Is there a motion?
So move.
There's a motion and a second.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I don't think I can vote on it. I can't vote for myself.
I mean, you can.
I didn't know. I didn't abstain on purpose.
Item number 11 is public comments again. I would just ask that any citizens wishing to speak at this time limit their comments to no more than 2 minutes. Any public comments further? That item number 12 is suggested future agenda items.
I got a phone call from a constituent, when I talked to him, Joe Hope, I can't, it wasn't really clear. Elderly gentleman who lives near Greenies and drives there for breakfast in the morning. And his concern was that he would like, because he's got a handicap condition, he was wondering if there could be more handicapped accessible spots up at the top of the hill at Greenies, because if they're not there and you gotta park down the hill at Greenies for him with he's got a walker and oxygen tank, and it's hard. And him and his wife go there for breakfast, and he's noted that in the morning, sometimes those handicap spots are filled. And said I would ask for future consideration if we could get some more handicap spots up at the top of the hill at Greenies.
And maybe we could start with a discussion at the Delbrook Commission level. Start there and
Yeah, I can bring it up there.
Okay.
maybe have a recommendation here to the city council.
It is, I know, I've seen it, yeah, but I agree with you, we
Okay.
need a little bit more there.
I just, it was a call, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Thank you. Thank you
I
for
will
raising
definitely
it.
make a note of that.
Any other suggested future agenda items before this? Now, as I've often said, if there's,
Actually, I have something.
okay,
We've got a lot of work that's being developed for the lake committee. And I'm wondering if it makes sense to start to think about maybe combining the work that we're doing with the Comus and the lake committee into something. And I don't know what that would look like, but maybe we can get some early discussions to try and think about that.
certainly we can talk to the chairman of the Lake Comus Committee. And certainly with. And if there's no other additional future agenda items at this time, I always say that you're welcome to let myself know, the city administrator or city clerk, and we're happy to put that on for future discussions here at the city council level. If there's no additional business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
There's a motion to adjourn. There's a second.
I'll second.
All in favor of adjournment, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye.